Okay, we've seen enough of these pronomial suffixes that I think it's time to systematize them. So what is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that stands in place of a noun, so we don't have to say the noun all the time. So instead of saying, Ken Shank goes to the store, I can say, I go to the store. And it's much clearer and much simpler and takes much less breath. Hebrew not only has independent pronouns, this is like we have in English, I, you, that we have as its own word in a sentence. Hebrew also tacks them onto the end of a word. So you can say his work, and it's just one word. And by putting a letter at the end of work, you signify it means his work. There are basically two kinds of pronomial suffixes. There are what we might call object suffixes, like I gave it to her, where her is the object of to, object of the preposition, to her, to him, to us. Unto us is born this day a Savior, who is Christ the Lord, to us. Us is kind of like an object suffix. And Hebrew can put that us, new, right on the end of to. Lanu. We saw lanu in Hebrew in the verses of Jonah, and that's to us. It can also, that's an object, but it can also do possessive, like his God. Each prayed to his God. And again, by putting a letter at the end of God, it signifies his. Well, this is all very abstract. Let's remind ourselves of what we've actually seen in verses of Jonah. So all of these words that I have in here are actually words we have seen in the first 9 verses of Jonah. So lo is to him. Elohiv is his God. We also saw this variation, Re'ehu, which is his neighbor. So all of that, see the holum especially, the who is less frequent. The holum is his or him, and that's a pronomial suffix. It's a suffix because it's right on the word, right? It's not a separate word. It's not an independent pronoun. It's a pronomial suffix, and it's a pronoun, him, his. So here we've systematized it. You have singular ones like his or her, and then you've got plural ones like their, their, or them, to them, for example. The ones here with the dashes, and of course should have a dash on these two, we haven't seen these yet, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you so that we can systematize it. And then when we do see them, you're like, oh, there's one of those things I learned. This is to her or her fair, because it was talking about a boat. The boat's fair. Her and boats are she's in Hebrew. This is with them or their evil, their wickedness. So here the mem is where the plural their, their, comes from. We've seen to you, singular masculine, or your God, as in singular masculine person, your God. We've seen lanu to us. Ani is an independent pronoun. I, it stands by itself, but the hirik yod there is the same as what we'll see for the possessive if I were to say my. Okay, these are all things we've seen. Let's systematize it, shall we? So here is the chart. This is a chart that maps all of the pronomial suffixes that are object suffixes and possessive suffixes. So the third person is the his, her, their, plural. Second person is your, or your singular, your plural. And then first person is my in the singular and our in the plural, or me as in to me, or us as in to us. Okay, so you remember that. First person is the one speaking, I or we in the plural. Second person is who we're speaking to, you, singular or plural. And then third person is who we're talking about, he, she, it, or them. Okay, so the third person, him or his, tends to be dominated with a vav. So to him we've seen. Alive, I believe it was, with a vav at the end. So vavs, you'll just, as you see more and more, you'll know, oh, that's him or his. We've seen both of these forms for the feminine. And so the feminine, her or hers, tends to be dominated by a hey at the end of the word. For the plural, we've seen we've seen both of these forms, but it was early on when we were learning the letters, so you might not remember. We'll go back through Jonah 1 again, looking for verbs and things after we've gone through it a first time with some of these sorts of things that we're doing now. Hem is them or their, and then the mem could be there. So you notice that the mem tends to dominate the masculine plural, theirs or them. And then nu, although we haven't seen it yet, nu tends to dominate the feminine plural, theirs as in a bunch of women, or them as a group of women. Okay, and I don't know, that sticks in my brain because m is male, n is none. I don't know, a bunch of nuns, they're women anyway. So mn, masculine, feminine, plural. Ka is you when I'm talking to a singular masculine person, or your when I'm talking about your God, you as a guy, a singular guy, your God. We haven't seen the k, which is just k at the end of a word. That's the feminine your, singular. And then we have kem and ken. I never knew that I was feminine plural. Who knew? Ken is feminine plural. And then kem is masculine plural when I'm speaking to y'all. Y'all, a group of guys, kem, or y'all, a group of girls, ken. So, but again, notice that the mem is the masculine and the nun is the feminine. We just put a k on it for the second person, and you'll notice that these are k too. So k runs throughout the second person you. Ka for masculine singular, you. K for feminine singular, you. Kem for masculine plural, you. And ken for feminine plural, you. Then the e is my or me. And again, ani we've seen. Ani ohevet, I love you. Again, is the first person singular pronoun. And then nu, we are new. We are the knights who say new, is us or our. Again, you'll pick up these. I don't think I ever sat down and actually memorized them in a chart. I think I just, over time, as I read more and more Hebrew, I just kind of stuck eventually. I do have a Silly Songs with Ken to finish up this video to help you remember it if you're musically inclined, to the tune of O Worship the King. O ha kak e hem hen kem ken nu. O ha kak e hem ken kem ken nu. O ha kak e hem hen kem ken nu. O ha kak e hem hen kem ken nu. And that has been pronomial suffixes, both in their object and possessive form.